is up, you heathens and demons, you beautifully blasphemous people? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. And today's going to be just a real quick video talking about my last video. Don't want to make this too long, but I do want to clarify myself. Now, as soon as I posted that video, I got a troll. I think it's the same troll that I've had. I've had a lot of fun with him. He's interesting to say the least. I think it's Corey. He's just got a different name because the last few times he's trolled me, I've absolutely crushed the guy. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but my longtime commenters, you guys, that have read Corey in the past, read this guy and tell me that if you don't think it sounds a lot like Corey. But he had a legitimate point. And I do need to clarify, because in that part of the interview, like I've said all along, I got extremely drunk before the Matt Powell interview. I was extremely hungover during the Matt Powell interview. And my brain late into this interview is not firing off like it should be. I did this research about a year ago, and I couldn't even remember the word Arabia, right? So my brain wasn't firing off. And I had actually forgotten a lot of the research. Now, I went back and rewatched the videos I put out as a conclusion to that research, and this is what I was talking about. Alright, it does appear that Code Blue or Corey, whatever the fuck your name is, was right about something. It does appear that a lot of Muslims actually believe that Muhammad was a pedophile. They defend it, alright? I've just watched it for about an hour. Several Muslims defending Muhammad being a pedophile. So he's not wrong about that. But what he is wrong is what history says. And let's talk about that. I've never read the Quran. And from what I've watched today, I'm assuming it says in the Quran that Aisha was 9 years old. Well, there's a problem with believing anything in the Quran, and we're going to get to that. But we're going to first talk about my research. Now, when I researched Islam, I went into it with a lot of biases, and one of those biases was I actually did think that Muhammad was a pedophile. And when I researched Islam, I did listen to a couple Islamic historians, but I mainly just listened to historians that I have listened to in the past. And I listened to them or I read them, because I do read. You should read. And this information is easy to find if you just take the time to learn it. Most modern historians believes that Aisha was in fact 19 years old. Now, maybe as young as 16, but 19 years old when she actually married Muhammad. I was wrong in that video. I said that she was married at 9 and then consummated it at 16 and 19. No, based upon my research, most historians believe that she was actually married at 19. Well, why do they believe this? Well, because at first, there was no Quran. The Quran was spoken word of mouth. There was no written language in Arabia at the time. Not for 3 or 4 generations after Muhammad. So all of this was spoken word of mouth. But there's other evidence as well. I did speak of an instance when Aisha was 16, 17 years old, I believe. And she had been promised to Abu Bakr. Promised by Abu Bakr, her father, I believe, and this is the political marriage that brought Abu Bakr into Islam and cemented his place in Islam, and he would go on to be the second caliph. So something happened when she was 16, 17 years old. She disappeared. A lot of people thinks that she ran off with one of Muhammad's guards because she didn't want to marry an old man, and this is the historical evidence that I was talking about. But she ended up coming back three days later, and one of the first things Muhammad wanted to know was whether or not she was still a virgin. Now, you can't still be a virgin at 16 if you've been hitting that since she was 9. History says a thing. Now, just because every single Sunni or every single Muslim can believe a thing doesn't matter. History says a thing. Now, maybe she was 9 years old. While it would have been taboo in Arabia at the time for that to occur, it wouldn't have happened very often. I can't say that it never happened in Arabia at the time. And they took many wives, and women were seen as property. But history just doesn't say that, and I tend to side with the historians that doesn't think that that happened. That they think that that was a vicious rumor put out by his enemies, the Quraysh tribe, who ruled Mecca until Muhammad took shit over, and they wanted their city back. They wanted their power back. So you have to study history, and you know, spare me if I don't believe what a Muslim says, the same way I wouldn't believe what a Christian says about Jesus. You know, here's one thing that is true about Muhammad. You know, as I researched him, I developed a respect for him because he was an actual living person, unlike Jesus, right? And y'all, all right, heads blown. You guys know I don't think that he existed, but say he did exist. He died before he could actually carry out his kingdom, right? Before he could actually carry out his empire. There was no empire. There was like 500 disciples. Muhammad started an empire. He was a real person that started a real empire. There is real history there. So I developed a respect because Muhammad came up with this very progressive solution to poverty. Islam was a solution to poverty in Arabia at the time. The problem with Islam was the Caliphate that came after Muhammad, warped and pretty much stole his religion away from them, from Muhammad, even though they give great reverence still to the Prophet Muhammad. His religion has been warped. His religion was supposed to be all-inclusive. Under Muhammad's Islam, I as an atheist could safely pronounce my atheism as long as I paid my taxes. That was Muhammad's Islam. That was the first caliphate. You see, history is a wonderful thing. I've always loved history. I enjoy reading it. I can read for hours, or I can listen to documentaries for hours upon hours and never get tired, taking notes the whole time. It's something I've always been able to do. It's something that I've always been fascinated by. Now, don't get me wrong when I say that I developed a respect for Muhammad, because Muhammad was a terrible human being. A terrible human being. He was a con man that created a religion to con people into believing what he wanted them to believe. Now, it was for a just cause, in my opinion, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he started a religion that would turn into the Islam we have today. People destroying themselves, destroying others with the promise of virgins waiting in heaven. He was a conqueror who killed mercilessly to gain more land. So don't think that I'm, you know, high on Muhammad. I'm an atheist. Of course, I could give two shits about Muhammad. What I care about is the truth. Another thing about Muhammad is he did take several wives, and later in life that power did corrupt him. Power corrupts, and he had this divine revelation later in life saying that while he, the prophet, could have as many wives as he wanted to have, everybody else could only have 4. Alright, so you know, Muhammad wasn't some great person who we should all revere. I'm just saying, no true history. I tend to side with the historians that doesn't believe the bullshit. Islam has been demonized since its inception for a reason, because these motherfuckers have always fought war, and they fought it well. That's the truth. That's history. Read it. As always, I am your boy Nakasuchi. This is The Raging Atheist. If you like my videos, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share me on your social media, comment in the comments section below. I'll see you soon.